Exploring the communication needs and challenges of adults with autism spectrum disorders, Communication Partners Perspectives, by Denney, Anderson and Watson, 2022. In this paper, the researchers explore the ways that autistic people with complex communication needs and those that interact with them most frequently as communication partners navigate the challenges of communication. Some autistic people, such as those with complex communication needs, need support to communicate effectively to achieve their everyday goals. Issues can arise when communication impairments manifest in issues with social reciprocity and spontaneous communication, both verbally and non-verbally. The impact of this communication gap can be severe, so the role of communication partners is an important one with many facets. This paper explores those facets. The study aims to explore the experiences of these communication partners, focusing on barriers and strategies to aid communication. While previous studies have touched upon communication partners, they're consistently positioned as purely interventionist, with the focus being generally on children. This study aims to address a gap in the literature regarding autism, adulthood, and communication. The researchers use a multi-case study design utilising semi-structured interviews of the communication partner participants. The multiple case study design allows for within and between case analysis, enabling researchers to explore cross-case comparative and contrastive themes. There were 4 communication dyads within this, making 4 case studies. The 4 participants were all self-selected for the study. Each communicate regularly with one or more autistic adults with complex communication needs, either as a relative or as a friend, or in some cases in a professional role. The researchers based their interview questions on Light's 1989 Domains of Communicative Competence. This allowed for exploration of a broad range of topics, from the modification of communication to managing communication breakdowns within the partnership. This would all contribute to the thematic analysis. The 4 case studies yielded rich qualitative data that varied widely across the cases and was strongly influenced by the nature of the relationships within the dyad. Having said this, 4 themes emerged that were represented in all of the case studies. The participants noted that adopting a strengths-based approach and responding to the autistic individual's needs enhanced communication within the dyad and beyond. Amy, as a graduate of speech and language pathology, highlights the importance of rapport of the partnership element being balanced and responsive rather than didactic. Lynn echoes this in her recognition of the downside of rigid strategies, noting the need for adaptability for each individual. A number of different approaches have been adopted by the communication partners, and all of the participants emphasise the need for flexibility when communication in the dyad. Rose defers to her husband's preference to communicate multimodally in specific circumstances, while Amy adopts a creative method of overcoming communication barriers and developing language skills by embracing her autistic clients' focused interests with them. All of the participants referred to other communication partners of the autistic individual to illustrate how their own practice was improved by reaching beyond the dyad. Lynn, in particular, emphasised the importance of a collaborative relationship with others surrounding the autistic person, such as their mother, in order to support them best. An area of real significance, though, within these findings is the prevalence of underlying beliefs about autism and communication, most notably the stigma that still surrounds specific autistic behaviours. Lynn in particular acknowledged the feelings of shame when required to manage her communication partner's behaviours. She also used the term normal when referring to desired behaviours and speech, indicating an underlying, possibly subconscious prejudice. Amy and Lynn also highlighted the challenges of other people valuing speech as optimal form of communication at the expense of other systems of communication. The implications of the study are significant and uncover many areas of further exploration. While the small-scale study provides an insight into a diverse and until now overlooked section of autism research, recent studies into communication partners such as Douglas et al.'s 2017 and Donato et al.'s 2018 papers have focused on interventionalist role of communication partners. That is, the expectation that communication partners are functional rather than having a more holistic role in an autistic person's life. It's likely connected to the fact that I could not find any studies other than this that explored communication partnerships for adult autistics. The suggestion is that while the autistic children receive the benefit of communication support that's well documented, these studies inevitably involve an element of didacticism and power imbalance. The case studies within this paper shine a spotlight on the complexities of autistic adult relationships and the tensions between support and autonomy. In doing this, the study provides a valuable first step into this previously unexplored area. Another key idea that this paper highlights effectively is the acknowledgement that communicative competence or lack thereof is not the responsibility of the autistic communication partner in the dyad. In 2012, Milton coined the phrase the double empathy problem, in which he shifted the onus of effective communication from one participant to equally distribute it between both participants. In doing this, he highlighted the privilege of neurotypical and called for change in the form of acceptance of neurodiverse perspective. Catherine Crompton seconded this assertion in her 2020 paper. Both Crompton and Milton's findings highlight how the neurotypical perspective of effective communication is contextually bound, and as Denney et al.'s study demonstrates, the responsibility for improving communication competence should fall to everybody, not just those in neurominorities. The issue of diverging perspective leads to my final comment on this paper on missed opportunity to triangulate and compare data collected from both participants in the dyad. The small scale of the study could have provided an opportunity to delve deeper into communication partnerships, possibly even utilising some of the flexible methods highlighted by the neurotypical members of the dyad. This type of triangulation is particularly important in case study designs in order to get a complete picture of the research focus. It is all the more important when researching underrepresented or minority sections of society to allow those voices to be heard. Having said this, the study itself provides a promising opening into adult autistic communication partnerships and all the complexities that differing relationships possess. The study provides an optimistic move towards acceptance of neurodiversity in its reflections on ways forward, including a call for training of neurotypical communication partners in order to improve upon the already flexible and adaptive approaches being used with success, for example, for people with aphasia. A greater understanding of neurodiversity by neurotypical communication partners would improve their advocacy ability and reduce prevailing stigma while enhancing the communicative competence for both members of the dyad. This study presents a broad picture of some of the strengths and areas for development in its supporting autistic adults in being socially and functionally included in terms of communication, and it also clearly guides researchers into a number of possible areas of future research relating to communication partners. Thank you for listening.